yeah, so Spider-Man Noir had the trailer drop. I thought a really fun thing to do to break down that trailer in a way that other people wouldn't, because there's a lot of trailer breakdowns. There's a lot of stuff going on. A lot of people are excited and celebrating this trailer. I wanted to break it down in a very comic book way. So let us discuss Spider-Man Noir villains, because this had way more villains than I was expecting. Let's get into it. All right, first of all, this one was really exciting for me because Molten Man is a character that I have a weird affinity for. He's been around since very early on in the Spider-Man run, like into his second year, and one of the reasons I have an affinity for him is this was such a hard first appearance to get. Molten Man's first appearance from way back in the day is printed on black paper. So this Amazing Spider-Man number 28 is so hard to get in good condition, but it's such a beautiful cover because it is literally, once you open it, it starts to crack in the seams. So it's 60-year-old paper. I recently got a decent copy of this one. But Molten Man is Mark Raxton. He is an arsonist that then gets the ability to basically catch on fire and burn things down. That is a perfect villain for something like a Spider-Man Noir, a perfect villain to go in that time and to incorporate that kind of street-level crime into this 1930s prohibition, all of that world. So very excited, and that appearance means a lot to me. Mark Raxton has been around for comics for quite a while. He pops up with some Oscorp stuff, but he's usually kind of just like a heavy. We've also got in this trailer what looks to be Manspider. Now, I didn't catch this my first watch, but it's a couple frames of this. This ties directly to me into some of the body horror elements. It ties into the experimentation. It ties into, you know, Nazi stuff. That's Spider-Man Noir. He hates Nazis, as he should. So we're going to see a lot of Nazi punching and a lot of street-level thugs, but Nazis were also horrible, experiment, manipulate, you know, warp body people. It makes sense to have something like Manspider. Now, Manspider has actually been around a lot longer than people think. A lot of people, understandably, thought he first popped up in the animated series, but no. Manspider has been around since Marvel Fanfare in 1982. Look at this proto-Manspider. Look at this guy right here. And yes, that is Kazar right there. This is a way back in the day issue of Marvel Fanfare, and this is where most people know him from, which is totally understandable. Manspider is an awesome character from Spider-Man the Animated Series. There is something similar to this in the Spider-Man comics canonically. There is a six-armed spider, which is how the animated series kind of tied this in. It was Spider-Man into six-armed spider into Manspider. In the comics, however, the six-armed spider is a little bit earlier than his more core comic appearance. Six-armed spider, I think, appeared in like that first issue of the Morbius arc, so it would have been like 101 or thereabouts. But Manspider comes back in and comes to play, especially in the 90s, but especially with the popularity of the animated series. But it is cool to see him here. But his first ever appearance was in 1982 in this Marvel Fanfare, and then we've got him here in the animated series. And what looks to be, like I said, like some experimentation and manipulation stuff, because not only is it, you know, the clear appearance here, but I think these are legs. I think these are like appendages around him. Like, this definitely looks like a leg to me. A lot going on here with this potential Manspider goodness. So in addition to those two, like I said, a lot of villains in this one, we also got Sandman. Now, this is really exciting because this is the beginning of his transformation from the appearance of things. This shows, I mean, the budget in this show is so much more than I expected. We're a very few villains in, but we've already got a bevy of villains. A practical Sandman transformation has me very excited. You can see the sand starting to form. I love the character of Sandman because he's way more nuanced than most villains. His first appearance was in the fourth, technically fifth if you count Amazing Fantasy 15, but fourth appearance of Spider-Man here, Amazing Spider-Man number 4. This is, 1962 or 3, depending on what time of the year, way back in the day. But Flint Marko, Sandman, went from being just a heavy, a bad guy, to more of a nuanced guy that had to steal to help his sick daughter. Flint Marko's arc has been amazing. Really have an appreciation for the character. He was obviously also in Spider-Man 3. We haven't seen him for quite a while in an adaptation. I think it's really fun. We're playing with some classic villains, mixing in some new ones. This character I could also see definitely fitting in the 1930s world they're building in Spider-Man Noir. The Spider-Man Noir comics have a bunch of great villains, but I think this is a really good opportunity to blend villains people know, like Sandman, and villains from that classic era, and I think he fits in that world very, very well. Really excited to see how they translate him here. We've also got this tiny little frame. This is like a quick, distorted, very, very quick shot of Brendan Gleeson, who was apparently our big bad this season. When Brendan Gleeson was announced quite some time ago to be a part of the show, I assumed Doc Ock. He's got a Doc Ock kind of vibe to him. I didn't know who he was going to play. I talked about this 2 days ago in the last live stream. Silvermane has been confirmed as the big bad, and that makes a lot of sense, especially when you look at early Silvermane. Now, when Silvermane was first introduced, he was just kind of a mafia guy obsessed with immortality. He was he does change. We'll talk about that in a second. But this guy was introduced. I think his first appearance is in issue Amazing Spider-Man number 73, which is a Man Mountain Marco issue on the cover. But then in issue 74 is his first cover appearance, and that is him with the tablet of immortality, which becomes his obsession. So he's a man that is obsessed with immortality, but he's a mob boss. He is a crime leader, which ties into all of these kind of street-level criminals. I think he's going to be the man, you know, the machinations behind the scenes. A lot of really cool opportunity for Silvermane here, and very excited that it's Brendan Gleeson. But the way a lot of people know him is his more 90s appearances, which is Silvermane as a bionic android synth. He wants to be immortal, so he changes his body, implants his head into a robot. Lots of crazy stuff happens with the Silvermane, and again, this is when there's some peak Spider-Man popularity, and this gave me an opportunity to use an image from a 1994 Fleer Ultra card, which is some of my favorite cards ever. So I thought this was fun and personal for me, because that is how I think of Silvermane is this. And he's obviously in the animated series and a few other things as well. But I believe this is his first live action appearance, and the great Brendan Gleeson playing him has me very excited. But wait, there's more. We've also got Electro. So many villains in this trailer. So many villains they got the rights to use in this show. Once again, Electro, one of our earliest Spider-Man villains way back in issue 9, Amazing Spider-Man number 9 from the very early 60s, in that iconic Ditko Stan Lee run where Ditko and Lee are just inventing some of the most classic villains of all time, especially those first couple years of Spider-Man. Electro, obviously, we've seen in Amazing Spider-Man 2. We've seen him in the animated series. He's a frequent bad guy in the comics. Started out as just a electrical lineman named Max Dillon. That got hit and obviously gets electric powers. Another very fitting character for this universe. Electricity is newish, and it's going to be fun to see, that not new, but like rudimentary. The city's probably got huge electric wires. If you guys look at actual pictures of New York with original electrical wiring, the sky is dark from just the amount of wires. You could really see some cool stuff with electricity and using these characters in a very unique way. And once again, a testament to the showrunners and the combination of Lord and Miller, who not only give us the Spider-Verse, like not only did they bring us, in my opinion, the greatest adaptation of Spider-Man to date with Into and Across, but they're part of how this show exists. They've been really shepherding the show. They've been really pushing to get these iconic villains and these characters involved. I think this show is going to be exceptional. This amount of villains is insane. Rumor also has it that in this show is Mr. Negative. Now, I personally did not see Mr. Negative, but apparently he's in the teaser. I scrubbed. I didn't see him. He's a villain that has been around more recently. He's like a 20-year-old villain. He is a duplicitous man that by day runs the Feast charity, but by night is crime lord. Martin Lee is his alias, and he is popularized from the video game, that first Spider-Man game on PS4. He's also a character I think has danced in and out of being rumored for movies and stuff. So apparently he is also in the show, and I'm just so excited, guys. This Spider-Man Noir trailer got me so excited. A lot of villains, a lot of opportunity, and definitely a theme here. All of this does tie directly into a very 1930s appropriate, very Nazi, very street level, very hunt down these heavies, these street thugs, all led by Silvermane, and this has me very, very excited. I'd love to know what you guys thought of the trailer.